Welcome to Fully In It, a show for moms who know they are called to so much more. Join me, Kate Saffel, a life and a business coach, and a woman on a quest to show that anything you desire for your life is truly possible. This show is about going fully in it for you and the people you love by showing up powerfully in all areas of your life. Join me for weekly episodes that will inspire you to follow your intuition, lead with integrity and heart, and create the life you've always dreamed of. Welcome to episode 105 of the Fully In It podcast. Okay, so question for you. Right now, do you feel completely clear on exactly where you are heading with your life, with your family, with your business, your career, with those pieces of your life? Or are you currently struggling with some uncertainty where you don't exactly know what's next, but you feel like you should know? You feel like you should have this perfect plan of exactly where you're heading and how you're going to get there. And also, how do you make decisions or take action daily if you don't actually know where you're heading? These kind of questions come up so commonly for us moms because there's so many moving pieces in your life. You're thinking about your family's needs. You're busy with your own work, your business, your calling. And you also have your own needs that you would probably really like to meet at some point. When you aren't clear on your life direction and next steps, it can create overwhelming uncertainty and confusion. So in this episode, we're going to talk about how to find clarity and peace when you're in a season of not knowing what's next. And I want to just begin by stating what I think is so incredibly important for you to know. You are not always going to know exactly what you are doing and where you are heading and have a perfect vision for your life all of the time. And when we look at social media, we look at what other experts and leaders are saying and doing, there is an unspoken expectation that you should know all the time, 100% of the time. You should always have it completely figured out. However, it is in the best interest of people who have an online platform to share the highlight reel, to share the pieces of their life that are working, and maybe not always share the messy middle, the uncertainty, the doubt, how many nights they wake up just totally panicked because they're completely questioning everything that they're doing. Very rarely do we hear that version of life and entrepreneurship spoken to. You know, this conversation actually came up recently with my kids. So we were driving in the car and my one child said to me, "Mom, I just feel like the bucket list family is such a better family than us." And immediately my red flags went up because I could hear the comparison in her voice. And if you don't know who the bucket list family is, you go to YouTube, search the bucket list family. They're going to come up. They're a very well-known family that traveled full-time around the world for several years. You know, they put out weekly vlogs, they have an Instagram channel, they have all of the things. And I knew exactly what was happening within my daughter when she brought that up, because as we kind of dug into it, she confided to all of us in the car that she sometimes feels like we aren't good enough as a family because we do fight and we get in disagreements and we aren't traveling all the time, or sometimes our days just look really monotonous and boring in comparison to what she sees in the vlogs of the bucket list family, where in these, 15, 20-minute videos, it appears like they are always having the time of their life. They're always getting along. They have these sentimental moments and they have a really beautiful life together. So what I had to remind my daughter of, and we did this through some questions that I asked her, which were, do you think that it benefits the bucket list family to show all of it? Like the crying and the arguing and the fighting and, just the crummy bad days. Why wouldn't they show that in their videos? And my kids were like, well, because nobody wants to see that. And I'm like, yeah, why does nobody want to see that? Well, because we're drawn to like happy endings and things looking perfect and beautiful and fun. I said, okay, exactly. So it's in their best interest to put out videos that create those feelings in you, because would we really want to watch them like fighting and struggling to parent their kids and the kids getting upset with each other? No, we wouldn't want to watch that. We get enough of that in our real life, right? And so we talked about how there is no comparison between our family and other people's families, because we get to love the family that we are. And we know the truth of who we are. So the reason I share that is because there is no perfect, and you're not going to perfectly know exactly what you should be doing or who you should be all of the time. And I think that if we can embrace that and we can let go of that expectation, then it will help to dispel this idea that there is something wrong with you, that you should know better, that other people have it figured out, and why don't you? Instead, let's flip this and look at what you do know about you to create a little sense of clarity and stability and maybe even confidence in this current season of life that you are in. So my encouragement to you is to make a list of what is clear to you right now. What can you hold on to? Some things you might list out are what you currently love and appreciate about your life, your home, your business or career, and yourself. What do you currently love about these things? Or another way to put it is, what is currently working well? And you can also flip this and ask yourself, what do I currently dislike about those areas of my life? What do you intuitively know is just like, it's not working right now? It is just a poor fit, and for whatever reason you keep doing it. You can start to remove commitments and responsibilities and ways of being that are just not a good fit for you, because when you do that, it not only brings you more clarity, but it creates space for what is meant for you to come in. The next thing I want to talk to you about is shifting the narrative around how we think about the next steps that you're taking. So often we think of baby steps, like those little steps, as being not good enough. That if you're not making massive leaps that have you quaking in your boots, that there is something wrong. But baby steps are still meaningful steps. And the reason why is because they are still moving you forward. You may not know the full picture yet, but you can trust yourself to take the next right step, even if it feels really small, even if it feels like it's not getting you exactly where you want to be. Does it help move the needle forward for you, even just a tiny, tiny bit? I want you to think about any of the moves that you have made in your life, like the big shifts, like maybe deciding what you were going to study at school or the job that you took, or maybe deciding to be a stay-at-home mom or work-at-home mom or whatever, like these seasonal shifts that you've experienced throughout your lifetime. Was it just one big massive decision, or was it a series of smaller decisions that led to that bigger one? For example, for me, I can think about like I got my master's degree in art history and museum studies. Now, I did not wake up one day at 18 and think, yes, I know exactly what I want to do and who I want to be. Instead, what it looked like was I took some art classes in high school and I enjoyed them. And then I went to college and my advisor said, hey, we've got a great art history class here. Have you ever thought about taking art history? And I was like, no, but I went to museums with my parents when I was a kid. So it sounds cool. And then I took an art history class and I couldn't believe that it was taught by this Norbertine monk. And he was showing us like nude paintings. And it was like, it felt provocative and weird and awesome. And I was like, wow, art history is actually really, really cool. I want to learn more about it. And so I took more art history classes. And then when I decided to switch colleges, I decided to major in art history for my undergraduate. And the more I learned about it, the more I enjoyed it. And so much so that I graduated and I tried to get a job doing something with this degree, and surprise, surprise, I couldn't find one. So I went into retail management and I spent a year working a job I hated. And I hated it so much. And I felt so stuck and so uncertain about my future because I felt like all those doors were closed for me, that I began studying for my GRE, which is the exam here in the US that you often take to get accepted to grad school, because I thought, you know what? Maybe I just need to go to grad school and that's going to help. And so I got accepted to grad school and I quit that job and I studied art history and I did internships at amazing museums around the country, right? And so that was about 6 years of me baby stepping my way. And ultimately, in the end, the truth is, I went and I taught at the university and I did teach art history, but I had always meant to work in museums. So even the path that I thought for sure, I am going to build an entire career working in museums, that is not the ultimate path I ended up on. And it's okay, because so much of our life doesn't turn out exactly how we think it will. And maybe, just maybe, could that be the permission slip you need to not have it all figured out right in this moment? Baby steps matter. You have to be willing to trust yourself and be willing to make mistakes. Now, I could look back on my entire journey in academia and my career and decisions, and I could think, wow, I made so many mistakes. If only I'd had a better plan, things would have gone differently. But the truth is that you end up where you were meant to end up. Why are you arguing with reality? Let it be what it is going to be. And trust yourself to always take the next right step. And speaking of self-trust, how is your self-talk right now? How are you speaking about yourself to yourself? Are you beating yourself up? Are you telling yourself you should have figured it out by now? You should be doing better. You should be doing different. Oh my goodness, it's like the things that we say to ourselves are so hurtful. If you wouldn't say this to a good friend, why are you saying it to yourself? Be your own best advocate. Your clear direction will not drop in if you're focused on everything that is wrong about you. Hear that again. Your clearest next direction is not going to come to you if you are focusing all of your mental energy around everything that's wrong with you and all the mistakes you've made in the past. And here's why. You're putting so much time and energy into the negative things, the things that you don't want, then inevitably you're going to create more of that. Instead, when you have your own back, when you love on you, when you trust you, this creates the space, the possibility, and your own receptivity to hearing what is next for you. So start saying to yourself daily, all day long, I welcome in guidance on my next steps and the purpose of my life. I am open to hearing whatever it is I am meant to do and be in this lifetime. And say it and mean it. What if finding out your next steps of where you're heading was as exciting and curiosity driven as a child awaiting the holiday season? So a child who is anticipating the holidays or maybe their birthday or some other special occasion, there is zero doubt that they are going to receive what is on their heart to receive. And they usually don't know what's coming, but they know it's going to be so good. They know that it's going to be a special moment when they receive that thing that they are looking forward to. And they trust that there is something else, someone else who is going to decide on their behalf. And they can trust that. And in a similar vein, regardless of your spiritual or religious beliefs, would it be possible for you to just lean back a little bit and trust that God, the universe, whatever powers that be, your own intuitive guidance, has your back and is going to provide for you your next direction when it is the perfect timing? And until then, can you rest in the season that you're in and let it be what it needs to be? Maybe this isn't a season of striving and pushing forward for you. Maybe it's a season of quieting, listening inward. And for that to be possible, the last thing I want to recommend, which is one that I often do, is to cut out any outside noise and sources of information that are cluttering up your mind, confusing you and creating uncertainty. Stop listening to 10 million different voices on podcasts and books on social media. If you're following a bunch of, quote, experts, it is their job to tell you what to do. It is not your job to listen. You are the expert and you decide. So cut out all of the noise. Unfollow anyone and everyone who is creating internal strife, comparison, and confusion. And remind yourself that you are the expert. And if you are going to lean on a mentor, a coach, someone who is farther along than you, or at least maybe has a piece of the puzzle that you're looking for, pay attention to if they're simply telling you what to do, or if they are guiding you back to your own inner guidance and wisdom, because there is a difference. And the ones who tell you exactly what to do, how to do it, and leave no space for you, when you stop working with them, you're going to then again feel that sense of confusion and uncertainty because you learn to rely on someone else. And ultimately, my goal for you is that you learn how to listen to you and trust yourself as the expert so that you can go without having a coach or a mentor or a guide and still know how to lead yourself. This is a gift we get to give ourselves. Mentorship and coaching is a wonderful support that I value so much, but at the end of the day, you are the expert and you can trust yourself. Listen, I know how hard it is to be in a season of waiting for clarity. I have been in many myself, and I promise you that it will drop in exactly when you need to know and when it is time for you to enter into your next season of life. And if you are wanting more on this topic, listen to episode 6 of this podcast, because I did an episode, and this was all the way back in 2018, called Thriving in the In-Between, which also speaks on this topic, and I hope it serves you as you navigate your next steps. I am sending you so much love and peace, and I will see you next week. If you loved this episode, it would make me so happy for us to connect more. I have the most amazing free resources like a 5-day e-course that will help you feel more confident leading your days and your family, a guided visualization for imagining and creating the life that you want. And if you are ready to take everything that you hear in this podcast and create it in your own life, you're definitely going to want to book a free 50-minute call with me to see if coaching is the perfect fit for you. Head to thestreamlinedlife.com/hello to find all of the latest resources from me. And I am sending so much love to you and your crew. I will see you next time.